Good morning, students. Today I am come with a new class on Linux system administrations or Unix system administrations. So here I am going to discuss about basic Unix or Linux commands and its how it uses. So it is very important class because without basic commands we cannot run or we cannot use Linux or Unix operating system. So we first go to what is Unix. If we see what is Unix or Linux, so if the Unix operating system is a set of programs that act as a link between computer and user. So the computer programs which allocates the system resources and coordinate all details of the computer's internals is called operating system or kernel. We have already know what is operating system. It is an interface between computer and user. So user communicates with kernels through a program known as shell. What is shell? Actually, it is the program, small program through which user communicate with the kernels. Kernels is nothing but the core of the operating system. The shell is a command line interpreter. So it translates command entered by the user and convert them into language which is understood by the kernel. So Unix was originally developed in 1969 by a group of AT&T employees Ken Thompson, Dennis Ritchie, Douglas McRoy, and Joe Osana at Bell Labs. So there are various Unix variant available in the market: Solar Unix, AIX, HP Unix, BSD are few examples. So Linux is also a favor of Unix which is freely available. So Linux is one version of Unix. So several people can use Unix computer at the same time. Hence, Unix is also known as multi-user operating system. A user can also run multiple programs at the same time. Hence, Unix is a multitasking environment. So if we see the Unix architecture of Unix, so here we have this hardware, then kernels, then shell programs. So it is different components and finally application programs. So this is the basic structure of the main concept of Unix structure. So at the core it is hardware and it is covered by kernel, and then we have shell programs, then users programs, so application program. The main concept that unites all version of Unix is following four basics, which is kernel. The kernel is the heart of the operating system. It interacts with the hardware and the most of the tasks like memory management, task scheduling, file management, etc. So shell. The shell is the utility that processes our request. When we type a command at our terminal, the shell interprets the command and calls the program that we want. So the shell uses standard syntax for all commands. So C shell, burn shell, corn shell are most famous shells which are available with most of the Unix variant. Next, command and utilities. There are various commands and utilities which we can use. We can make use in our daily day-to-day activities. For example, cp, copy files, mv, move files, cat, concatenated grep, etc. A few example commands. So there are 250 standard commands, 250 standard commands which were through the third. These are nothing but different commands which we use in Unix or Linux environment. So files and directories. All the data of Unix or Linux is organized into files. All files are then organized into directories, and that directories are further organized into tree-like structure called file system. So file system consists of lots of directories and files. So next concept is system boot up. So what is this system boot up? If we have a computer which has Unix or Linux operating system installed in it, then we simply need to turn on our system to make it live. So as soon as we turn on the system, it starts booting up and finally it prompts us to log into the system, which is an activity to log into the system and use it for day-to-day activities. So login Unix or Linux, if how we log in here, if we see, so when we first connect to a Unix or Linux operating system, we usually see the prompt login. So to log in, we have our user ID, user identification and password. So contact our system administrator. The main function of the system is to build login ID. If we don't have this, and type our user ID login at the login prompt and enter, press, and user ID is case sensitive, so be sure you type and exactly as your system administrator has created or instructed. Then type your password at the password prompt, then press enter, and your password is also case sensitive. So if you provide correct user ID and password, then we will be allowed to enter into the system. So then login, and this way we have, so login, then password, then last login, then this will display in the screen. So we will be provided a command prompt called command prompt, where we type all different commands to run, to execute different commands to in the Unix or Linux operating system. Then suppose we use the basic command calendar, then June 2009 or whatever we in the current time, that calendar will be displayed. So similarly, change password, if we want to change the password provided by the administrator, all Unix or Linux system require password to help ensure that your files and data remain on you and that is secured from hackers or crackers. So step 1, if we change the password, to start type password with the command prompt and showing enter your old password, then you are currently using, then type your new password, then you must verify password and password change. This is this way password, we have changing password, Unix password, retype Unix new password. So password all of the tokens successfully. Then come to the listing of directories and files. So we know that we have already know the Unix or Linux system is consist of file systems. So all data in the Unix is organized into files. All files are organized into directories, and these directories are organized into tree-like structure called file system. So file system, and it is the top we have root directories. So we can use ls, this is ls command, to list all the files and directories available on a directory. So following are some example using ls with l option. So the list of all files, and in this way some informations are displayed in the screen. Total 19,621 files and directories are there. These are nothing but how, when created, and what are the different mode, okay, different permissions. These are but nothing but some permissions we have. So here we're starting with directories. So D means directories and others are files. If we see who am I, if we use command while we are logging into the system, then who am I, if we write who am I command, then this is then what my name in at the time, that will be the displayed who am I. So and this who am I, who is login, suppose who is login the system, if we want to see, then we have, sometimes you might know who is the login, then there are 3 commands we get to get the information of users. So users, who, and w. So users, when you command write users this, then 3 users are there, Amrut, W, and Qadir. Who, who, if we use who commands, then this will be the informations. Amroot in this process, and W and quadrid. And if we W commands our system to check output, so this lists down the information to log the system. So now logging out, if we want to log out from the system, then we use logout commands. So when we finish our analysis, then we just type logout commands in the command prompt, then we automatically log out from the system. And again, if we want to shut down the system, the Unix or Linux environment, then following commands are used, which are halt, brings the system down immediately. Init 0, power of the system. These are commands. Halt means brings the system down immediately, and init 0 command, power of the system is implemented script to synchronize the cleanup and system prior to shutting down. Init 6 means reboot the system by shutting it down completely and restarting it. Then power off, shut down the system by powering off. Reboot the system. Shut down the system. These are some basic commands for shutdowning the system. So next, if we see file management in Unix, how file management are done in Unix. All the time the Unix is organized on files. All files are organized in directories. That's you have already know. So these are some three basic types of files in the Unix environment or Linux environment. Ordinary files. An ordinary files is a file on a system which contains data, text, or program instructions. So this is ordinary files. Then directories store both special and ordinary files. For user familiar, Windows and Unix directories are given for learners. Special files, some special files provided access to hardware such as hard drives, CD-ROM drives, modems, Ethernet adapter, etc. So these are some three types of files. Now list of files. If we see to list this ls command is sufficient to see the list of files and directories. In this way we have lsl, this is total number of files and directories in this. Then if we see here, the first column represents file type. First column represents file type, permissions given, and second column represents number of memory blocks consumed by the files, and third column represent owner of the file. Here this is permission, this is name, this is owner, and fourth represent group owner. Unix associated group. Fifth represents size, how much size is consumed by the files and directories. Then sixth date and time when created and modified, and seven directory name. So this is how we have used ls command and what are the important. So different optional there. ls, this means regular ASCII text file. ls being block special file. lsc character special file. lsd directory files. lsl means symbolic file link regular file. lsp piping, etc. Now come to metadata. What is metadata? Meta characters. So meta characters have special meaning in Unix. So for example, star, question mark, meta characters. So star to match 0 or more characters, and a question mark this match with a single character. So if we see star lsch doc means display all files name start with ch and end with doc. So in this way, there's star worker meta character which matches with any character. And hidden file, if we see hidden file and invisible files is one, the first character which dot or periodic character dot. Unix program include this. Some common example of hidden files are profile dot profile, so barn shell, ss image skip, so kshRC, the corn shell. These are some hidden files. These are not needed for us. Suppose now how to create files in Unix or Linux environment. We can use PI editor to create ordinary files on an Unix or Linux system. So PI file name, PI space file name, then we have this open a command and we have give the file name, then press escape to come out from the editor, and shift Ctrl Z together and completely output from the file, and we'll have a file created, file current directory, then here file name. So again we want to edit the files to editor, then TI file name once open, and then press I for editing file, and again we first we need to come out edit mode and escape, then after I L key right side, H left side K. These are the keys, some to move right left, move up and down. Again position cursor, we want to edit some positions, then we use I to come into the edit mode. So press I, then escape. Then now if we want to display the content of a file, then we use the command cat command to see content of the file. So cat file name, then whatever the content of the file we have seen. These are the basic functions, fancy commands of creating files. So again, counting the word in a file, then we use wc word count. This is command, wc command, to counting the word in a file. So wc file name, that means this is the number of characters, number of word and characters. So first column represents number of lines, two lines. Second column represents number of total words, and third number of characters in bytes. So fourth represent the file name. So this is copying files. If we want to copy the content of from one file to source file to destination file, then cp copy, cp source file and destination file. If we copy the content of one source to destination, then if we renaming file, since the name, then move command is mv is used, mv old name and new name. So then we create new name is renaming from old name. Then delete files, if we want to delete, then remove rm command is used to remove the file name, then rm file name. Okay, these are the basic file basic. So today I think these are some important concept and commands. So in the next class I'll discuss standard Unix stream. Okay, thank you.